Center City Church?
You already know.
Well, this is our podcast where we normally spend a couple minutes going a little deeper into Sunday morning. And man, what a Sunday morning it was.
Yeah.
Pastor Emma did a phenomenal job challenging us through the story of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We were challenged on so many different fronts. My biggest takeaway from the message this week was this idea that when we consider these men and women of the faith, often we think, man, they're so bold, there's so much courage. But Emma really challenged us to consider, no, they were just living in an honest faith. Yeah. They were being authentic with who they are and who they knew God was. And when we know who we are, we know who God is, we're able to kind of make these scenes. We're able to make sure the main thing's the main thing and live this incredible, dangerous faith, which I was really challenged by.
It was really cool to see her, after taking 12 weeks to go through a book of the Bible, it was really cool to see her actually highlight 3 different stories from Daniel and see how they built on each other. Because I had never thought before about how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had watched Daniel live out his faith. So then when they were in that, they had the opportunity to also live their faith out in a really honest and bold way. They were ready. So it was cool to just see that kind of building progression and be encouraged in my own faith.
But we're going to do something a little different in this week's podcast.
Yeah,
and
so I'm don't already know. But you will.
So I want to tease a little bit. We're going to talk through a bunch of things that are happening. But if you hold on till the end, we'll give you a quick snapshot, a preview of even our message series, which we don't normally do, but you got to hold on to the end in order to hear that. But so much happening, right?
Yeah, so much.
Really the heart of Center City, maybe you're new to our community, really the heart of Center City, we believe that healing happens within the scope of community. That forgiveness is something that God gives and God alone, and He's able in His sovereign grace to bring forgiveness, but He utilizes community to bring healing. So we're stepping into one of our more exciting times of the year because our groups offering is brand new. You want to talk a little bit about groups?
Yeah, we have got groups that are meeting all over the city, multiple nights a week, on the weekends, and really they're just groups of people who are getting together to do what they love with the people that they love. We love groups that study the Bible. I know if you grew up in a church, that's kind of what was in my head when I thought of small groups until Pastor John came along and totally blew up that idea, which I love. But it can be as simple as hiking with people and running with people or walking. The Run Group allows walkers guides, so just letting you know. Journaling, eating together. We just want people to be known. We have, when you walk in our lobby, you've seen it, we have a big sign that says you belong. Yep. And a lot of what it takes for people to feel like they belong is to be known in these smaller groups of people where you can share life, pray together, talk about what's going on, get to know each other, have inside jokes, tease each other lovingly. But it's the heart and soul of who we are. We just love groups, and all of them are kicking off in September. So now is the time to sign up.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Like, you got one chance to tell me about a group that we've never had before. Oh. Which group would it be?
Man, you did put me on the spot.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
We actually have 2 that are very similar, but they're on different sides of town, which I love. But
that is it. Okay, so good.
Listen, I'm not going to choose. That's what I do. Loopholes, people. We have 2 groups for young adults. So this is college age, a little bit out of college, getting together, having dinner together, just discussing life. Both of them are pretty open-ended as far as what the topics of discussion are. It's really just about navigating this season of life that can be really challenging. It was not one of my favorite seasons of life. While at the same time, I'm just like, how am I not in that season of life anymore? I feel old. But these
are college student, technically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a master's student. Come on, John. But I'm really excited. We've never had something that specifically is available to this age group, and now we have 2 groups.
Yeah. So if you're interested in this group or any of the other groups, you can check us out online, centercity.church. You can check us out on our app, which you can download by just scanning that QR code that I'm probably going to put somewhere around here or a link in the description. But it really would. I had a conversation with someone this week that was talking about, man, I just really feel like I need some connectivity. What a great season to ask that question because we're giving you more options. So that's kind of the first thing. But in that same vein, one of the things that we felt kind of that's been happening over the last several months is God has really been growing our church specifically in the area of young families, right? So we kind of sat down and started talking about the need for a group structure, community structure that serves the whole family. So after much prayer and kind of thought and asking a bunch of people and doing a bunch of homework, we've developed what we are calling family dinners. It's not just for families, it's for single adults, it's for young adults across the board, but every Wednesday night, we're going to open up our church facility, and at 6:30, we're going to eat food together. I know that sounds crazy, but when you read through scripture, you'll find often Jesus had some of his deepest conversations with people over a plate of food. There's something about breaking bread together.
We actually have a group that's going to be studying all of those times.
There you go. Yeah. So every Wednesday night, 6:30, we open up. From 6:30 to 7, we'll be eating. At 7 o'clock, we'll kind of have a little bit of a prayer moment, and then we'll dismiss everybody. High school and middle school students will be meeting with our youth ministry. Children's ministry will be wide open, and then we have several groups for people who may be interested. We have a men's group, we have a women's group, and then we have a freedoms group. And it's just a great opportunity, whether you're married or not, to just kind of move that community needle and in a way that really does service the whole family, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, so excited about it.
Absolutely. So again, you want more information about that, you can either download our app, go to centercity.church, or this QR code that I'm sure again we'll put somewhere around
Just
here.
gonna start pointing random places,
right?
Sorry,
go ahead,
guys.
tell me where I'm supposed to put the QR code.
Right here.
Okay, so right there, scan that QR code, and we'll give you some more information about family dinner, which again, great opportunity to bring coworkers, maybe some friends. It's a $5 per person or $10 per family love offering, which means if you don't have it, don't let that stop you. Come on out anyways, and we'll feed you. We're really believing that God's going to do some incredible things.
Yeah, and the last Wednesday of every month, we will not break out into groups. The kids will still have children's ministry, but we'll actually spend time in extended worship together, which is something I'm so excited about.
Which will be our first Wednesday, which
next
is
week.
Which is next week, which we can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So then what about this Sunday?
We've got a cookout because we love eating together.
Let's go. Food.
Yeah, food.
Yes, right. So I'm going to put a QR code somewhere around here. We have, right after our Sunday morning experience, you don't have to do anything. You just got to move out to the parking lot, and we'll have food and bounce houses and inflatables for the kids and for the adults.
Yep, human foosball. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to fall down, but I'm really excited.
Yes, and we'll make sure we have video of that. So we can't wait. That's going to be great this Sunday. And again, another opportunity to bring a friend, to tell a coworker. They might not come out for church, but they might come out for a hot dog and a hamburger. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, and one of the things, you brought this up a few weeks ago in a message that we as a team have really grasped onto is this idea of we want to reach the lost in our city, but also the wandering.
Yes.
And the nice thing about fall is it's a time that people are setting their rhythms. And a lot of us got off rhythm during COVID, and some of us haven't gotten quite back into that rhythm. So it could be that you have a new neighbor that you haven't met and you want to invite, but it could also be that you have friends who just haven't connected in 2 to 3 years now, that this would be a great time to say, hey, come on, we'll have food afterwards. We'd love to see you. Bring them on.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So then that kind of
leads us to the big reveal.
We're super excited. So as many of you might know, maybe you don't because you're new to the family, we have walked out of a transition season. We were a part of what they call a parent-affiliated church called Multiply. And we, about 6 months ago, sat down and through much prayer and much conversation knew that it was this season that God was calling us to move back to a general council church, which basically means we're on our own. Well, within community, but for the most part, our church is a sovereign church, which is super exciting. And now that all that is done, the question becomes, how do you become a part of what God's doing at Center City? So what we're kind of walking through is what we call partnership. You might have heard people use terminology like membership, but we use the terminology partnership. And this is our first time walking through the Center City Partnership series. Really, when you talk about a church, there's a really clear picture. Jesus really defines what a church should be, what a church should look like, the intentionality of the church. So we'll talk quite a bit about that, and how a church should move, how a church should move in the city. What are some of the things about the church that really God has placed in us to utilize for the sake of being light and salt in the middle of a city? And really, we're going to spend the next several weeks talking about you and your giftings, talking about the history of Center City and what's kind of brought us to this moment. We'll talk about really ultimately what our objective is, what our mission is, what the vision of this house is. And you'll get an opportunity to say, am I all in heart and soul? Is this something I want to be a part of? Which we just totally believe that God's doing something great in the middle of this all. So for the next 5 weeks, we start this Sunday, and then we'll move through 4 weeks of it. And then when it's all said and done, we'll ask the question, are you all in heart and soul? This will be a phenomenal time. You don't want to miss. The name of the series is Move. The name of our partnership process is called Move. And we're just really believing that God's going to utilize this to kind of move us into the next season.
Yeah, we're ready to move.
Absolutely. I dare you to move. We got a bunch of move
I like
songs.
to move in. So, we could go all day.
Absolutely. You can download the playlist. I'm just kidding. We're not doing that. But you can, in the comments, leave your favorite move song. That'd be great. See how many of those we get.
And make sure to join us Sunday morning, 10 a.m. We can't wait.
It's going to be great.